Hello and welcome to Standard Voice Television Global News. Today, 30th March 2026. Equivalent to Islamic calendar, 11th Shawwal 1447 after the Hijrah of the Noble Prophet. In the headlines, President Tinubu donates salaries to wounded soldiers and families of fallen heroes at 74th birthday. Senior Staff Association of Universities threatens strike action over delayed remunerations. Plateau government imposes 48 hours curfew in Jos North over incessant attacks. And on the international scene, President Trump considering military operation to extract uranium from Iran. And on sport updates, Confederation of African Football increases Africa Cup of Nations teams from 24 to 28. Details of these and more will come to you in the news bulletin. I am Sumaya Mustafa. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has established a welfare fund to support members of Nigeria's armed forces for the wounded soldiers in the line of duty and the families of fallen heroes. The Nigerian leader, who disclosed this as part of activities marking his 74th birthday, described the initiative as a tribute to the courage, sacrifice and service of military personnel. Tinubu, in a personal show of commitment, promised to donate all his salaries since assuming office in May 2023 as seed fund for the initiative. Special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, in a statement, said Tinubu ordered the Accountant General of the Federation to create the special account that will cater for injured service members, as well as widows, widowers, and children of personnel who lost their lives in the service to the nation. He stressed that the establishment of the fund underscores his determination to ensure that those who have borne the cost of Nigeria's peace and security are not forgotten, and also called on governors, members of the National Assembly, the private sector, friends and well-wishers to contribute to the fund. The federal government says Nigeria will overcome its current challenges, including electricity supply. Despite the ongoing Middle East war that has aggravated economic hardship, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave the assurance while speaking to State House correspondents after special birthday prayers at the National Mosque in Abuja. He also acknowledged the difficulties facing the nation while expressing hope in Nigeria's resilience and described his 74th birthday as a solemn day, a day to give thanks to Almighty Allah. Tinubu also attributed the nation's current difficulties to external factors beyond Nigeria's control, while calling for reflection and rededication to national progress. Also, Vice President Kashim Shettima, who attended the prayers, described the occasion as a celebration of service to humanity, celebration of rigidity, of resilience, of commitment to the common good. On his part, the Sultan of Sokoto, represented by the Etsu Nupe Yahya Abubakar, stressed the need for continuous prayers for national peace, unity and development. Moving on, the federal government is set to launch a 12 billion naira digital economy research fund to support the nation's long-term digital transformation agenda. Minister of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, who disclosed this in a statement, said the move is aimed at strengthening evidence-based policy making for the country's digital economic outlook. He explained that the program is being funded under Project Bridge, a federal initiative meant to deploy 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic backbone infrastructure across Nigeria to expand connectivity and enable a modern digital economy. The minister also noted that as the government expanded digital infrastructure nationwide, research-backed approaches were required to ensure inclusive benefits. Tijani said digital policy decisions are often shaped by market forces and political cycles rather than rigorous research and long-term thinking. Then in the news, the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities has threatened industrial action over unresolved labor issues and deteriorating conditions in the nation's university system. The union issued warning in a communique after its just concluded 54th National Executive Council meeting held at Ekiti State University in Ekiti State. National President of the Council, Mohammed Ibrahim, who read the communique, decried the slow pace and inconclusive nature of the ongoing renegotiation between the federal government and the non-teaching unions in the university system, stressing that prolonged discussions without results are unacceptable. It also issued a final ultimatum to the federal government that from 1st April 2026 to 30th April 2026 to conclude the renegotiation process and sign the agreement. The communique said that failure to meet the deadline would trigger industrial action, warning that there will be no going back on this decision by the JAC of NASU and SANU. Moving on, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State departs for London to attend training on leadership in a move to strengthen governance in the state. Spokesperson for the governor, Suleiman Bala Idris, who disclosed this in a statement, said the workshop was organized by the Centre for Resilient Business and Society University of London in partnership with the Ministry of Research and Technology of London. He noted that this indicates the partnership and efforts to strengthen research and enhancing governance and the welfare of people of Zamfara State. The statement also said the workshop discussed ways of providing good leadership, enhancing research centers, and ways to improve welfare of people through research and data collection. Idris added that Governor Lawal is accompanied by the Secretary to the State Government, some commissioners of the state, among others. Still in the news, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has urged political leaders at all levels to demonstrate empathy and take urgent steps to ease the growing economic hardship facing Nigerians. CAN President Archbishop Daniel Okor, in a statement to mark Palm Sunday, said the significance of Palm Sunday offers timely lessons for leadership, particularly in a period marked by economic strain and global uncertainty. The cleric, while reflecting on the biblical account of Jesus' entry into Jerusalem, noted that the moment symbolized humility, peace, and purposeful leadership rather than a display of power. Okon also emphasized that the country's current socio-economic realities demanded similar qualities from those in authority, noting that across Nigeria, many are feeling the weight of the times. The CAN president, however, linked the domestic economic challenges to global development, particularly tensions involving Iran, Israel, and the United States, which he said are disrupting energy markets worldwide. The news is coming to you on Standard Voice Television Global News. Still to come in the news. Senior Staff Association of Universities threatened strike action over delayed remunerations. And on the international scene, President Trump considering military operation to extract uranium from Iran. And on sport news, Confederation of African Football increases Africa Cup of Nations team from 24 to 28. Details of these and more will come to you after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that short break, and now the news continues. The Plateau State government has imposed a 48-hour curfew within Jos North local government area with immediate effect, beginning from 12 midnight at 29th March to 1st April 2026. Commissioner for Information and Communication in the state, Joyce Lohia Ramnap, in a statement, said the move is coming following the insecurity incident that occurred at Gariawaye community in Angwarukuba on Sunday, 29th March 2026, resulting in the loss of lives, while several others sustained various degrees of injuries. The statement added that Governor Caleb Manasseh Muftuang condemned the barbaric and unprovoked attack on innocent citizens and assures the public that all necessary measures are being taken to apprehend the perpetrators and bring them to justice. He also urged citizens to remain calm, stay vigilant, and cooperate fully with security agencies by providing any useful information that may aid ongoing investigations. Moving on, national leader of the New Nigeria People's Party NNPP, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has resigned from the party, heading for the African Democratic Congress ADC. This development has marked a significant shift in the opposition political landscape ahead of next year's general elections. Kwankwaso disclosed his decision in a statement he personally signed, describing the move as part of a strategic realignment in response to evolving national political dynamics. He appreciated NNPC's leadership structures, including the National Working Committee, NWC, Board of Trustees, BOT, and grassroots members nationwide, as well as supporters of the Kwankwasiya movement. Meanwhile, the founder of the NNPP, Boniface Anebonam, in a statement said the party is not part of Kwankwaso's planned move to the ADC. He also insisted that Annie Bonham maintained that the NNPP remained intact and would not follow the former presidential candidate into another political platform. Moving on, delegates from Kebbi, Ekiti, Bauchi and many other states on Sunday led the charge at the 2026 National Convention of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), which was backed by the Minister of Federal Capital Territory Nyesom Wike. The party constituted 19 new members of its National Working Committee at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja in an effort to reposition in the opposition platform. The PDP Constitution 2017, as amended, provides for a 19-member NWC at the national level, outlining its structures and responsibilities within the party's leadership framework. It was gathered that on March 25 that the Wike-backed PDP adopted a consensus approach in selecting members of the National Working Committee, who will oversee the party's affairs for the next 4 years. The NWC members, along with other national positions and their respective consensus candidates, were affirmed by over 2,500 delegates as follows: National Chairman Abdulrahman Mohammed, Deputy National Chairman Aaron Chukwuemeka, Deputy National Chairman Yusufu Akirikwen, National Secretary Anyanwu Samuel, Deputy National Secretary Kolawole Olabisi, and National Treasurer Adeyemi Oladiran, and Deputy National Treasurer Lado Marke, among others. The International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Nigeria, and other stakeholders, law enforcement and government institutions had to re-echo calls for tougher legal frameworks and improved enforcement mechanisms to combat gender-based violence (GBV) in Ekiti State. The country Vice President, National President of FIDA, Eliana Martins, represented by the chairperson of the Ekiti State chapter of FIDA, Ayobami Olowoyo Richards, said effective prevention of GBV goes beyond enforcement, stressing the need for continuous review, harmonization, and strengthening of laws to reflect evolving societal realities. He added that lessons from previous engagements revealed that many GBV-related laws are hindered by gaps, ambiguities, and weak alignment with national and international standards, thereby limiting their effectiveness. In his goodwill message, the Ekiti State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Dayo Akpata San noted that the 2019 law marked a turning point in ensuring speedy trials and justice for victims, adding that the ministry maintains a register of convicted sex offenders to promote accountability. And on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump is considering a military operation with the goal of extracting 1,000 pounds of uranium from Iran. The Wall Street Journal report said the operation would likely put American forces inside the country for days or longer. Meanwhile, Trump is yet to make a decision, but remains generally open to the idea because it could help accomplish his central goal of preventing Iran from ever making a nuclear weapon. However, the New York Times reports that troops deployed to the region could be used in a mission aimed at Iran's highly enriched uranium at the Isfahan nuclear site, but that they could also be used to seize Karj Island or protect the Strait of Hormuz. It had also reported earlier this month that Trump was considering an operation to seize and destroy near bomb-grade nuclear material believed to be largely stored deep under a mountain of Isfahan. Both outlets point out that the operation would be complicated and risk high. And lastly, on sport news, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) to increase the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON 28 teams from 24. CAF President Practice Motsepe, who announced this at a press conference after an executive committee meeting, said the expansion reflected his organization's commitment to world-class football with the best African players from all over the world returning to compete on the continent. He, however, did not provide more details on how the tournament format would accommodate the 4 additional teams or when the change would take effect. The last 4 editions of the Cup of Nations featured 24 teams, following an increase from 16 participants in 2019. Motsepe confirmed that the 2027 finals will go ahead as planned in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, while a second tournament is scheduled for 2028, after which the competition will be staged every 4 years. He added that CAF also plans to launch a Nations League in 2029, featuring a 16-team final tournament held every 2 years. And that's the size of the news on Standard Voice Television. Finally, before we go, here's a recap of the top stories again. President Tinubu donates salaries to wounded soldiers and families of fallen heroes at 74th birthday. Senior Staff Association of Universities threatened strike action over delayed remunerations. Plateau government imposes 48 hours curfew in Jos North over incessant attacks. And on the international scene, President Trump considering military operation to extract uranium from Iran. And on sport update, Confederation of African Football increases Africa Cup of Nations teams from 24 to 28. That was Standard Voice Television Global News. Our next news bulletin comes up to you later. On behalf of the news editor, Ilya Adamu Auta, and the production crew, I am Sumaya Mustafa. Thank you for being with us on Standard Voice Television.